Gideon. I wanted to leave you some feedback on Essay 2. Overall, I think it's working pretty well. You're doing a pretty good job of writing about the essays that we read for this unit. But more importantly, you have a clear thesis, and I think you're bringing in some good points to defend that thesis, right? So that's probably the most important thing. There's just a couple of things here and there that I want to talk to you about. So first off, in terms of who you are referring to in your introduction, yeah, so I think it's in the second paragraph. Again, I think I told you this before. I do indeed like your definition. I think it's a good one. I think it's original, and well, it's kind of exciting. This is the part that I was wanting to start with, and for some reason I thought that this language was in your introduction, but I was incorrect. It would be helpful if you narrowed this down and clearly identified who your audience is or who you're referring to here. Do you mean students here, right? So you might want to think about really who you are trying to address when you're saying most people, right? That's a little too broad for the reader to be able to follow clearly. So you bring in this point from Gatto, this piece of evidence from Gatto. But remember that you need to do two things every time you bring in an author from the text or into your essay for the first time. You need to create a full signal phrase and summarize the overarching main argument. So you have the title, you have the last name, you need the author's full name, and then before you bring in the minor point, you need to first capture the summary, objectively capture the author's overall main idea. And the reason why you do that is to avoid cherry picking evidence. So some readers might view what you did here as cherry picking evidence, and that essentially means that you're taking the minor point and using it to suit your purposes without first letting the reader know exactly what the overarching main idea is. So that's one of the reasons why we write summaries. You know, you're writing a lot about ethos in this essay. So if you present the ethos before the minor points, it helps with your own ethos. So long story short, make sure you create the full signal phrase and summary before bringing in the minor point. Sorry, I'm reading what you read here. I think that you're doing some good response to Gatto, and it connects well with your thesis. There does feel like there's a gap in logic here, meaning that I wish that there was a stronger transition to connect what's going on, your response to Gatto, to what Bambara is doing in her essay, right? So really these kind of read like paragraphs that work well on their own. Same thing with what you're doing here with Bereka. But the reader can't see a logical connection between this paragraph to this paragraph to this paragraph. And transitions would allow you the chance to do that, right? So just think about, and you really don't need a ton of writing, but just think about how you can pivot from the ideas explored in this paragraph to the ideas explored here. Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you here. That's a really good point. A tolerance of difference and exposure to emotionally difficult content. Indeed. Yeah. So as a whole, I think it's working. Like I said, I think clarifying your audience and creating clearer transitions will help. Your works cited page, make sure that you're arranging your sources correctly. So you want to have the title works cited centered, and then you want to arrange the authors you have them in alphabetical order, but you want the last name to go first. In MLA, you do not include the date here. It looks like you're trying to maybe do APA. There's no style system that does this. With these two texts, just include the titles and the authors. That's fine. All right. Let me know if you have any questions, Gideon. Thank you.